How can Africa be so poor and yet be materially so rich? It's real simple. The answer lies in the structural adjustment programs, SAP, the structural adjustment programs that are imposed on African nations by the International Monetary Fund of Washington, D.C., the World Bank of Washington, D.C., and USAID. These three organizations come into Africa, loan money, and then charge an interest rate on that money that they know the African nations can never pay back, thusly re-enslaving the entire nation and, in fact, the entire continent. Why was Muammar Gaddafi killed? Muammar Gaddafi was murdered because he, along with the other African heads of state, were about to bring into existence Africa's first central bank. They were erecting a central bank in Africa, which was going to do what? Back its money to the resources under the ground in Africa. Now, what would that have done to the global economic order? Remember, the United States dollar isn't backed on any natural resource. The British pound isn't backed on any natural resource. The Canadian dollar, the European Union, their currency isn't backed on any natural resource because Europe doesn't have a lot of natural resources. Africa does. So if they would have been successful in creating a central bank of Africa, coming up with a unitary currency, and then backing that currency to the material wealth under the soil, they would have bankrupted every other economic system in this world, from America to Europe to China. That was revolution, and that's why Muammar Gaddafi had to be assassinated, because he was about to help the African heads of state eliminate modern slavery.
Clinton says she would like to see Colonel Gaddafi captured or killed. We examined why she decided to take such an uncompromising position.
That is the land of unconfirmed videos. We came, we saw, he died. Did it have anything to do with your visit? No, oh, I'm sure it did.
Well, today I went to Salah ed-Din, that's to the base of the feared Khamis 32nd Brigade, where at least 50 people were killed on Tuesday night. As we arrived, it was clear that tensions were still running high there, a warning some of you may find some of the images disturbing.
Approaching the vast gates of Khamis base in South Tripoli. Moments later, chaos, fear, terror, as first a few, then up to 9 African men are shoved into a gatehouse, arrested by anti-Gaddafi forces.
These are Gaddafi fighters. Gaddafi fighters.
They're terrified, sweating, praying, some are crying. They're convinced they're going to be shot. They keep whispering to us, stay here with us, stay here, please. Celebratory gunfire increases their terror.
Because we are innocent.
We're scared. We're scared. Listen, we're going to stay here, because whilst we're here, they're not going to do anything to these guys. Right? These 9 men insist they're just 9 young men from Nigeria who are trying to get through Africa to Italy for a better life.
At this point, the fighters' story that they were found with weapons seems suddenly to evaporate. They're let out.
If they see the women, it's okay. That's how we get out of this.
A decision to try and film their women nearby to prove they're not Colonel Gaddafi's mercenaries ends it all. They can cool off and go, but what if we hadn't been there? This is a bad time to be a black man in Libya.
While lying in hospital beds being treated for injuries, dozens of men were shot dead in this hospital in what can only be described as an execution. Inside, it's filthy and littered with decomposing bodies, too gruesome to show. The hospital in Abu Salim was abandoned when fighting in the district of Tripoli escalated. This man is wearing a gas mask because the smell is unbearable. The medical volunteers called here to help can only clear up.
We just collect the body and we go to put them in the other hospital, in Tripoli hospital, the big hospital.
It's not known who killed the men, but many appear to have been sub-Saharan African.
And at the end of this smoke-filled street, an intersection littered with bodies. I count a dozen, a grisly tableau of urban warfare. The victims' hands bound behind them. The rebels say they were executed by Gaddafi's men. But these bodies appear to be black Africans, portion of Gaddafi's army, raising questions about whether the men were executed by the rebels.
Many foreigners who came here to work during better times are now stranded. Some were hoping to leave via Misrata port, but they can't get out.
All along the road leading to Misrata port, you find thousands of refugees, most of them from African countries, and they're stuck here, they're stranded here. They can't get anywhere. The women feel abandoned by their government.
Want to go to Ghana simply because anybody will not be comfortable to when he's hear gunshot and shouting all over the city that we want people are dying. We are not comfortable. We want to leave. So we need help from UN.
Cries for help have so far gone unheard as the situation of those caught here gets worse every day.
Libyan boat carrying up to 600 people trying to flee the violence-torn country has reportedly sunk off the coast of North Africa. It follows an earlier report of 61 migrants from Libya dying from thirst and hunger on another vessel which had been adrift in the Mediterranean for over 2 weeks. Witnesses say NATO deliberately ignored the boat's mayday calls. Former Belgian MP Lode van Oost, who's been outspoken on the treatment of refugees, says it shows willful negligence.
These kind of events sound hardly surprising to me. You're talking about the most sophisticated technological arm in the world, and they would not be capable of finding some boats at sea while they have operations chasing pirates on the coast of Somalia, where they can spot one simple tank in a city, and they could not do that. I hardly doubt it. So without getting into the details of these specific events, this hardly does surprise me, but it's only logical. Humanitarian concerns are not on the agenda of NATO. As far as
we are here, of course, as part of the U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit, the largest gathering any American president has ever hosted with African heads of state and government. And this summit reflects a perspective that has guided my approach to Africa as president. Even as Africa continues to face enormous challenges, even as too many Africans still endure poverty and conflict, hunger and disease, even as we work together to meet those challenges, we cannot lose sight of the new Africa that's emerging. We all know what makes Africa such an extraordinary opportunity. Some of the fastest growing economies in the world, a growing middle class, expanding sectors like manufacturing and retail, one of the fastest growing telecommunications markets in the world. More governments are reforming, attracting a record level of foreign investment. It is the youngest and fastest growing continent with young people that are full of dreams and ambition. You know, last year in South Africa, in Soweto, I held a town hall with young men and women from across the continent, including some who joined us by video from Uganda. And one young Ugandan woman spoke for many Africans when she said to me, "We are looking to the world for equal business partners and commitments, and not necessarily aid. We want to do business at home and be the ones to own our own markets."
All the colonialists left, and you had countries like Ghana and Nigeria becoming independent. but of course they needed infrastructural loans to build up their countries. So unfortunately for them, to enable them to build up those kind of infrastructures, they needed to take out loans. And what happened to the rest of the country? What happened to the rest of the manifesto? What happened to the people? What happened to building up your own national pride, your own national organizations, your own national businesses? Therefore, you were letting in people come in who could then take over your newly privatized organizations, mostly American companies, because what you're looking for is a way to generate income. If you're told that you're not at a stage where you can actually provide that, and you need to take instruction from other countries who can actually tell you how to run your country properly, and that's a condition of your loan, you're more likely to take that loan. And once you've taken that loan, you have all of the credentials that go with it that you have to abide by. Suddenly you have debt around your neck, and you now have to repay it, and you've now got foreigners in your country, running your country,